Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Kashif Booth podcast. Today I'm going to be talking about BBC's first Black British sitcom entitled The Crouches. When it debuted back in 2003, it caused a lot of controversy. The series debuted in September 2003 and was created by Ian Patterson, a white man from Glasgow. And the show was based around the Crouch family, about 3 generations living all under one roof. When the series premiered, it caused a lot of controversy as it was critically panned by critics and primarily black journalists who criticized it as not being relatable or even realistic to how black British families were in the early 2000s. The journalist Michael Ibolda heavily criticized the series as he said that they based the show on stereotypes, as the family was a blue-collar working-class family, and at that time that was the only representation of black British people on British TV. I think that he probably wanted the family to be affluent or middle class because in the early 2000s there was a lot of affluent middle class black families living in London. He also noted that the writing was just unrealistic as there were scenes within the pilot episode that were just just I don't want to generalize, but in majority black households it wouldn't have gone down. So for example, the teenage daughter was kissing her gangster boyfriend at the dinner table in front of her parents and grandparents. The children were also swearing in front of their parents, and in black household, I don't want to generalize, but that would not go down. And he also picked up on really small details as they would refer to the leader of their local black church as a vicar. And in black households, we don't refer to pastors as vicars, we say pastors. And vicars are most likely for, well, not most likely, they are for people who are Catholic. And the show didn't emphasize if they were Catholic or not. So, it just was very kind of, it wasn't clear because it was just like, well, Catholics, Anglican churches, they say vicar. Majority of Christians, we say pastor. So, it's little things like that that he really picked up on, and it just highlighted the issue of having a white writer write a black show. The creator of the series, Ian Patterson, said that he felt like he could make the show work because he set it in Southeast London and that he's from a working class family. But I find that quite naive because just because you're from a working class family, that doesn't mean you know anything about black people, doesn't mean that you know how to write black characters or know anything about black culture. And especially as England is such a melting pot of different black cultures, you have to be very specific about what type of black family you are writing about, and that's what was lacking in the show. Some critics said that the show was unfunny, it was patronizing, and the show was only commissioned to show diversity at the time, which is very interesting. Following the backlash of the show, it was renewed for season 2 and they hired black writers, but subsequently the show still ended up getting cancelled, which isn't surprising. And also, it's very typical of black British shows. Black British shows usually have a shelf life in this country where they only last maybe 1 or 2 seasons. And it's always confusing as to why that happens. Like, is it because they haven't found the audience, or are people not watching? Is the writing bad? Yes, in this specific example, the writing was bad because they had a white writer writing black characters through a white voice, and the voices of black people were lost. They weren't there. The failure of the Crouches further proves why black British writers matter, why black British writers should be writing black British shows. And it also shows that non-black writers who are writing for black characters or black shows is that sometimes, or in some cases, they have a perception of black people, and so they will write characters based on people they know or representation they've seen in the media. When you have black writers, you're getting a variety of different type of characters because as black people, we're not monoliths and we're all different people. So that's what brings the diversity to another level, because you're bringing different black voices to the forefront. I think it's great now that we don't have this issue. Yes, that Top Boy has caused some controversy because it's created and written by a white man, but people still really enjoyed the series. Yes, there were a lot of criticisms for it, but it wasn't as bad as the Crouches, because at least the creator of Top Boy, he does focus groups, he kind of embeds himself within the culture to understand it. Now, it's not 100% great, but at least he does the work to make it be more authentic, and the actors and characters are able to have more freedom because Ashley Waters and many of the other actors, I should say, sorry, on the show have improved and openly said that they've improved on the day and added their own dialogue to it because it didn't feel authentic to who they were. So at least they had the room to do that. The Crouches wasn't given that at all. It's great now that in 2024 we have such a variety of Black British shows, and I really hope that more of them last. 2 Black shows have been cancelled in the last few months. I really hope shows like Borders, Grime Kids, Black Ops, Dreaming Whilst Black, and so many more that are going to come out soon, that they last for a long time. We have them for 5, 6, maybe 10 years. I just want Black British shows to last so much longer, and we don't have that shelf life of 1 or 2 seasons, because Desmond's being the longest scripted Black British show is not good. That show ended 30 years ago this year, and that lasted for 6 years. It should not be like that. We should have a plethora of Black British shows that have lasted as long as Desmond's or even longer. But let me know your thoughts, guys. Tweet me at Kashif Podcast. DM me on Instagram at the Kashif Podcast. Let me know your thoughts. Did you know about the Crouches? Did you watch the Crouches? Did you find it funny? Why do you think Black shows always have a shelf life? Let me know your thoughts.